You have to be able to willing to put your neck out there and learn from those experiences, because that's where you're going to really find your passion. And once you find that passion, that's when you're going to become an executor and deliver on some pretty beautiful things. Leading is when you are more passionate about the results that your team is creating than the results that you've came up with.
Talk to us about ways that business owners and leaders can bring play into their organization practically.
Creating traditions in your business are a very valuable thing, and it's something that people can look forward to getting involved in. No traditions, no play. To have the ability to be able to emotionally connect with people and really understand the experiences that they go through. I tell you, we spend more time on our ROEI, return on emotional investment. Most businesses that fail isn't because of the business, it's because of the partnerships they have. We have candor, we have honesty, and we have self-awareness. We check our ego at the door.
Like, hey, you don't actually have a membership here and you're working out. What would you have to do then?
Normally, I'm going to turn to whatever they're doing into a positive that we can all benefit from. If they're coming in the doors, they want to work out. Tyler, I see that you're coming into our gym and you're coming in often, so I'm really excited about getting you started on a program with us because I see you haven't done that yet.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Diverse thinking to the podcast from a generational aspect.
Change doesn't have to be overwhelming. Once you've made change, your mind knows how to make change.
At any stage of our lives, we are unstoppable.
Hi, I'm Michelle Bonahum. I'm the author of Unstoppable, 7 Simple Steps to Get Unstuck, Make Big Change, and Unlock Your Potential. Our guest today is Dave Mortensen, entrepreneur extraordinaire. He's the co-founder of SE Brands, which is the umbrella company to many of the brands that you might know, some being Anytime Fitness and Orange Theory. He's the author or co-author of the book Love Work, which is about high-performing cultures, really combining play and fun and performance at work. He's passionate about healthy living, and he's most passionate about living the good life beyond business. And so, Dave, we're just so grateful to have you here. Thank you for taking the time. There's so many directions we could go with your story. And so why don't you just start by telling us your story and how you got here?
I'd love to. Michelle, first, let me say thank you for having me on. It's humbling, and I always appreciate these times when I get to meet other entrepreneurs that have done great things. Look forward to learning more about your book. That is something that I love the name of it, by the way. Unstoppable is just such a cool name because we're all unstoppable in some way, fashion, or form. And it's the way we live that life is very important. Little breakdown of me is real simple. I come from a very simple living. My parents were just wonderful individuals, and I always love to share a story. So I'll start with a story that you may laugh at. When I was young, my dad was a truck driver, and my dad was a hardworking truck driver. And I was about 10, 12 years old, and he would travel all across the road. So one day he comes home off the road, and it's a Friday, and you got to understand truck drivers. They come home, they basically eat dinner, they go to sleep, and you see them on late Saturday night, and then they leave again Sunday to go. And that was my dad's life. He was an on-the-road truck driver. Well, I look at him one day when he comes home on an early Thursday, and I said, Dad, I got great news. He said, what? He says, you know what? I figured out what I want to do for a living. My dad looks at me and he goes, really? I look forward to hearing that. So we ate dinner, and after dinner, normally my dad would take that nap, but this time he didn't. He grabbed on me, he said, David, come on over here. And he sits me down and he says, all right, want to hear what you want to do for a living? He says, you know what, Dad? I want to be just like you. I want to be a truck driver. My dad looked at me straight in the face. He said, the hell you are. I've worked too damn hard for me to work this damn hard for you to become a truck driver. Got up and walked out of the room. Well, from that moment on, I went, well, I'm not going to be a truck driver. What the heck am I going to do? And I tell people that story a lot because it was a tipping point in my life. And there's 2 ways you can take those lessons in life. My dad didn't come back and say, son, here are all the great things you can do. He simply said, no, you're not going to do this. But it taught me one thing. It said, you got to figure out what you're going to do in life and what inspires and drives you. And early on in my life, I fell in love with health and wellness. I don't know why, but the rise of the obesity crisis has been something that's been a passion of mine since I was in my teens. So when I came out of high school, I already knew the avenue I wanted to be in. I wanted to change the world in health and wellness and fitness. And I didn't even know how I was going to do that. Went to college briefly. I was a dropout out of college. I was a wrestler, poor as can be, couldn't afford college, the whole works, and I had to figure it out. took a job at a front desk at a health club making $4 an hour. But that was the semblance of where I came into this industry. And it's been a passion of mine ever since. And early on as a front desk, I got recruited to be manage a chain of clubs. It was called Medalist Sports Clubs at the time. And that's where I met my business partner, Chuck Runyon, who's been my business partner for over 35 years. What an incredible relationship. And how great is it to have one of your best friends in the whole world also be your business partner? And it's a lesson that I see some people struggle in is partnership. But that partnership opened up many doors for us. We owned a consulting firm. We traveled all across the US, Canada, Australia, Mexico, you name it, working with gyms of all sorts, big box, small box gyms. And we'd work with them and help consult them, primarily doing membership campaigns, but we'd also do operational things and all the things that we would do in these gyms. But we learned the different elements of the industry. We even started buying our own gyms. In fact, remember that $4 an hour job? That was the first gym we ever bought. It was a 30,000 square foot gym with pool spas and everything else. So we were owner operators and consultants all at the same time, but we saw a big gap in the industry. And that's where Anytime Fitness evolved. And Anytime Fitness opened its first doors, believe it or not, in a little town called Cambridge, Minnesota in 2002. And but we had big dreams for it. And today it sits at 5,500 units in about 44 plus countries and continues to grow year over year over year. We're pretty lucky.
Yeah, wow, what an amazing story. I love how you took the advice from your dad, first of all. You found what you love to do and you turned it into something that is highly successful that many, many people get to experience the fruit and impact from. So, talk to me about like what kind of mindsets did you have to change in order to be able to make that shift from thinking you were going to go down the path of what your dad did to finding what you love to do?
I tell people all the time, including my own children, you know what? You're not going to know where you're going to go until you start experiencing life. School and education, I will tell everyone, is very valuable. But what the education does is really give you an open door to an opportunity. What you do with that opportunity is on you, and you're not going to know where you're going to go. And that's going to transition over time. I know people at my age today that are making a transition in life because they've experienced a lot of different things and have decided, you know what, this is a new space I want to go into. That is all good. But if you're not willing to go experience, and experience means you're going to do some great things and you're going to fall on your face a few times, you have to be able to willing to put your neck out there and learn from those experiences, because that's where you're going to really find your passion. And once you find that passion, that's when you're going to become an executor and deliver on some pretty beautiful things.
Yeah. So how did you come across finding your passion and how did you know it when you found it?
You can thank two famous athlete, well, one famous athlete and one famous rock star for finding my passion. But it wasn't because of their successes; it was their failures that I learned from. It's just something that drove me, and it was two people you'll know very, very well. It was Muhammad Ali, and it was Elvis Presley. And I'll tell you why. Both of them I had a great passion for. I mean, if you look at Elvis and his career and everything else, it was absolutely amazing. He was at the top. He was the GOAT, and he's still the GOAT of that industry when you look at his awards and everything else. And then you look at Muhammad Ali, but there's a consistency between both of them that I saw in their later years. And you've seen them start to go through a weight gain. And I remember watching TV when Muhammad Ali was later in his years boxing. And I remember watching Elvis still doing what he does so great, but I saw them both eroding through this disease called obesity. And it made me sad. It made me sad. And I said, wow, I don't like that. And it's something that is passionate in my heart. But I'll tell you the little secret to fitness that people don't follow is I don't care how many days a week you come. If you're coming 2 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, what you have to guarantee me, no matter what, is you're going to make those committed times for the next 3 weeks. So if it's 3 days a week, you're going to come 3 days a week and you're going to hit it hard, or 4 days, or whatever those commitments are. For the next 3 weeks, you are not going to miss a beat, because it's really, really hard. That first week is hard. You've heard the 21 days to make a habit. So you go through those 21 days and finally you make it. You may come, I know people that have made those 21 days and come for a year, 3 years, 10 years, and longer. That's not the secret. The secret is there's going to be a moment in time when you lose that week, whatever it is. You have a bad week, you have a loss in your family, maybe you have a wedding to go to, maybe you just forget about it. I'm in pretty good shape. I want to quit for a little while, and you go through that moment. Anytime you lose over a week's worth of exercise, you need to recommit those 21 days. If you can follow that model of recommitting those 21 days, you will always be successful in fitness, because it's really easy to go, okay, I was coming 3 days a week. Now I'm only going to come 2 days a week. 2 days a week turns into 0.
It's so important, right? It's just it's starting with the little things. In Unstoppable, we talk about 21 days, and that's really how long it takes to reprogram our brain pathways to think differently. So what are some of the mindsets that people who are seeking big change would need to have to be able to make it to the gym every day?
Well, one of the things people have to do is have people around them that truly love them. And I really, really mean this. Having support systems around you are really, really important. And I'll tell you what happens in weight loss really common, and why people gain weight back is because people go through a massive weight loss program. And what do people say to you? Michelle, you've been through this when you were losing your weight. They say the same thing every time. You look great. Oh my gosh, have you lost weight? This gives us endorphins and gives us energy. But that's not the love I'm talking about. You know where the real love happens? Is there's a day when you plateau and you hit your benchmark of where you want your weight to be. And guess what? This is the sad part about our support systems around us. When we start to gain the weight back, how many of those true friends walk up to you and say, hey, are you okay? They don't. They tell their friends, hey, did you notice Michelle? She's gained a couple pounds again. What's going on there? But no one's coming up to you and saying that. And all of a sudden, you've lost that support system because you didn't commit people to saying, hey, listen, I need you through the good times, but I need you through my bad times. When you see something I'm not doing, I want you to call me out on it. And that's where you start to build a support system around you, because that's what real love is. Real love isn't the soft love that everyone thinks it is, the pat on the back and go get them. The real love is, you know what? Hey, listen, I'm worried about you and I love you. I want to help you.
Awesome. Well, Dave, I actually have a question for you. I was going to the gym the other day, and it's just this local gym. It's not like a big Lifetime Fitness. It's this very small local gym, and it's like a 24/7. The owner is there like, 8 hours out of the day. And what you start to see is that a lot of people are getting in for free. A lot of people are kind of just like bypassing it on the side there. And the question I had for you is, how do you run a business, a company in any way where you can make it so that not only your gym community is amazing, you're also making sure that people are paying and not cheating the system? And finally, we were there, and one of the trainers that worked there was just being an asshole. Like, it was bad. How do you also make it sure that your team is building to that good environment to the gym?
When we discovered our footprint, the kind of this 4,000 to 6,000 square foot model, we were going to take out group locker rooms. We want to take out all the intimidation of the industry. We took out front desk at our front door. We don't have a front desk because that's a barrier between the consumer and us. So it's a very open environment at an Anytime Fitness, and that's how we create it. We didn't do group locker rooms because, think about it, if you're a deconditioned person, the last thing you want to do is go into a restroom and change your clothes in front of someone else. So we made private restrooms, but it also added a level of security as well for everyone coming to the gyms. But the one thing we did do early on is, actually, I got a call from Chuck. Chuck's the one that found 24-hour key card access, believe it or not. He called me up, but we didn't design it. He said, we were consulting a gym, and it was like the gym you talked about. It was 24-hour gym. They literally gave everyone a key to the gym, but it was a hard key. It's like they ran to Ace Hardware, grabbed a key, and gave everyone a key to the gym, but there was nothing else involved in it. I happen to be a little bit involved in our technology side of it. So we started with access control systems. We integrated security systems. We integrated what are called tailgate systems. So our systems actually tell you if you bring in someone that's not a member of our gym. So we already know. And today, the phone opens the door. We literally have a phone that'll open the door to the gyms today, but we didn't even design it so it'll open the door. We designed it so it would open up an app to connect them to their health. So our app inside of our system gives the ability for our consumers to do programming, manage their exercise, track their workouts, track their results, but also even do exercise when they're not at the gym. because we know not everyone's going to do it at the gym. We need to give the controls of the health of our consumer in the hands of our consumer. And that's what we work on doing. So it's just operationalizing it and thinking about what do we need to do best for the consumer? And then let's make sure that we're putting all the little operational checkpoints in there to make sure that people are following that business model and there's a revenue stream that makes it opportunistic for our franchisees.
What would you have to do to the people that got flagged? Like, hey, you don't actually have a membership here and you're working out. What would you have to do then?
Well, this is how I do it. You know what? Thanks for coming in. Tyler, I see that you're coming into our gym and you're coming in often. So I'm really excited about getting you started on a program with this because I see you haven't done that yet.
Oh, I love that.
I assume they want to be
I love that. I love that.
So if they're coming in the doors, they want to work out. If I want to turn into the police, we all know that's not a great place to be. Normally, I'm going to turn to whatever they're doing into a positive that we can all benefit from.
Sounds like you've been so innovative in how to operationalize and scale your business, but I know your secret sauce is in how you create your culture, and you wrote a book about it, Love Work. And so talk to us about that. Talk to us about really the secret to your success.
Really, it's a secret to leadership. It really is. And I'll talk about leadership real quick. Leadership to me is when you go from being a doer to leading. And leading is when you are more passionate about the results that your team is creating than the results that you've came up with. When you're so obsessed with your own things that you do every day, you're not really caring about the people that are around you. We have a 4-letter word at our brands, and our 4-letter word is care. It's CARE, right? It's really having the care for everybody that's a part about your business. But having an ethos around a culture is really important. So we really put definitions around our vision and mission statement. For self-esteem brands, now purpose brands, because we just changed the name, but for self-esteem brands, it was improving the self-esteem of the world. But it's really the how behind that. And that self-esteem is everyone that's a part of your organization. That includes your own team. And we did it around our 4 Ps. And our 4 Ps are really simple. It starts with people. We have purpose. We have profits. And we have play. And I'll go through each one of them real quick. People to us is everything in our business. We are in a service industry. All of our brands, no matter what brand it is, people come first. Technology is an enhancement to help ignite our peoples in our relationships that we create. So people are very important, but when you are a leader, you need to care as much about that person as an individual as you do about the work they do for you in your organization. So 50% of all of our investments back into our people are in what they do for the business. The other 50% is what can we do to help them grow as a person in whatever it is. And that could be, you know what? They're afraid of heights. That means we're jumping out of planes with them because we got to help them overcome those fears that they have. So it could either be overcoming fears in their life, or it could be igniting something that they want to experience in life. And we've done all sorts of things for people to help them grow in our business. So loving on people is really important, and making sure that resonates not just in your organization, but throughout your whole system is really important, from the consumers all the way up. The second is living a purpose. For us, it was improving the self-esteem of the world. And every brand we have has different purposes. And some brands, if they don't have a purpose, better find a purpose. We're a firm believer that having a purpose that people can align and be passionate about is really, really important. And our belief in each and every person improving their self-esteem was really, really important. And we believe every person can grow in that, no matter where they are. They could be the most confident and think they have the best self-esteem, but all of us can continually grow. So it's something that we can continue to climb. That's why we've always had this momentum forward kind of symbol in our organization, because you have to have a forward movement. So purpose is important. Obviously, profits. We're in a franchise system. We got to make sure we're driving profits to every business. We obsess about driving profits. But I'll tell you, there's 2 types of profits. There's ROI, return on investment, your financial rewards of your business. But the more tangible one that everyone grasp onto, and I tell you, we spend more time on, is ROEI, which is a return on emotional investment. Because when people buy into any business, I don't care what business you own, if it's your own business, you just bought yourself an 80-hour-a-week job. It's got to be something that you love to do. I absolutely am lucky to say I have loved what I've done for the last 35 years. And I still get to sit and speak to people like you and tell people the stories that I am passionate about, more passionate about today than I was even 35 years ago. That's pretty cool. So driving something that people can be passionate about is a return on emotional investment. And I want to see everyone rewarded in the roles they do. And there's so many cool things you can do in the world. Do something you're passionate about. And you know what? That financial reward will absolutely happen. But that's not going to be the one you talk about 20 years from now. You will not talk about that. That's just something that happens. And the last is play. We take our business really, really seriously, but we don't take ourselves too serious. In fact, people who just take themselves too serious, I don't have a lot of time for. I really, really don't. I really want to be around people that just enjoy life and want to work really, really hard, but aren't uptight all the time. You know, those type of people in the world just aren't that fun, because when you foster a relationship, that is the word, by the way, that Chuck and I get the most calls on. It's not people, it's not purpose, and it's not profits. They get that. They see the plan, they go, oh, that's a cute word they put in the book. That's the glue. When you put play into your environment, all of a sudden you foster curiosity, you foster collaboration, you foster community, you foster all these things in your business that you are lacking and missing. And we're humming on all four of those P's. We're at some of our highest levels of culture. And fortunately for us, the rewards have come with that.
That's awesome. I've worked with many business owners to kind of help them bring play into their organization, but it's something that's just foreign,
Yeah.
especially in our Midwestern culture, especially, but
Yeah.
in the United States, it's kind of like work hard, no play, right? And so talk to us about ways that business owners and leaders can bring play into their organization practically.
Well, the thing with play is you got to get people together, right? And by bringing people together, even in this world of virtual world, there's things you can do with play that make it fun, but it can't always be about the business. Creating traditions in your business are a very valuable thing, and it's something that people can look forward to getting involved in. Same thing in your personal life. No traditions, no play. So create traditions in your business that people can look forward and get excited about. If you have, I'll give you an example. If we have a town hall and we update, our town halls are really an all-staff meeting. And when we have an all-staff meeting, that all-staff meeting is going to be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour max. And then we're going to spend the rest of the day having community time, maybe serving lunch to everyone, and then just talking about things and having fun time and taking a half a day off of work. So they actually look forward to coming to an all-staff meeting, but only 20% of that is on the business. The other 80% is about just spending some collaborative time and then just making fun. There's also community ways to do it. Get involved in community programs. Feed My Starving Kids. You could bring a community of people and do something that's very purpose driven. It doesn't always have to be around your purpose. It has to be purposeful. So tying in some of those other P's inside of that play also makes it a lot easier to deliver.
Yeah, you talk about being the best self. Like, how do you measure success as a business owner, as somebody that's really setting out to change people's lives in a big way?
Build something greater than yourself. I think some of the biggest problems people do in business is they're so focused on themselves and they're like blinded. I'm in the industry of franchising. I want to make franchising better. I'm in the industry of health and wellness. I want to be in health and wellness. When someone looks at me and says, I'm a member of another, you wouldn't believe how many people are like, oh, you know what? I'm a member of the YMCA. And I'm like, congratulations. I want to hug them and say, you know what? Good for you. I hope it's going really well. If anything ever changes, give us a call. I don't care about health and wellness if it's about me making sure they become a member of our gym. If they love what they're doing and they're going to a different gym or getting their fitness in a different way, I better care just as much about that and be passionate about that. I don't care if they're working out at home. So being passionate about the industries and being above yourself. And as far as what success to me would look like is, I don't know what that'll look like, because truly success will what's that business look like 7 years when I'm gone? Because if you built a great business and a great system and a great everything, there'll be a day I'll step away from this business. And my goal is to make sure that it is so strong that 7 years from now, I can look at it and go, wow, look at where it's went now. I'm so proud of it. The reason I believe we've been on a climb and have seen growth for the last 22 years, and we'll see another growth year coming in our 23rd year of doing this business, is because there's not a year we've ever looked at ourselves and said we figured it out, because we're still figuring it out. And we'll continue to figure it out. And every franchisee that ever joins our system, they'll hear it today. I'm literally going to speak to new franchisees. The first thing I'm going to say to them is anything you are getting involved in today, you better know that 5 years from now, it's going to look completely different. Get ready for the ride, because that's where the fun happens.
Sounds like you really have a foundation of being able to fail forward.
We just transformed our whole system, and we had to put new card readers on every one of our doors so the doors could open. And I'll
Wow.
tell you what was funny. When we started this process 2 years ago, we started this. And for the first 6 months, we got like 10 doors done. We got 5,000 some odd doors to do. And I literally, and I haven't done this forever, had to step into a club and go, what isn't working? And there were a lot of things that weren't working. I worked with our teams, and we made a lot of poor choices on how we were going to execute and deliver this, because we went to a huge network enterprise system that was going to go do all these installations, but they didn't know who we are. We ended up having to go back to our current network, who knew all how to do this the right way, and say, teach us how to do this the right way. And they did. And they actually got it delivered 6 months prior than we expected it to even get done. And that's a lot of work. It was like a half day's work in every gym to put these readers in. We had to do it in 5,500 gyms.
You talked about living your best life as being the thing that you're most passionate about. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to live your best life?
People ask me all the time, what are the things that carry you? It's called SEMP, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical health. It's really simple. Spiritual is whatever you believe, whatever faith you have, live that, stay connected to that, right? You have an emotional health, which is the emotional health for me is the relationships around me. Am I strengthening my relationships, or am I weakening my relationship? What relationships do I need to strengthen? Like my most exciting one right now, outside the one I have with my wife, would be I'm deepening the relationship with my own brother, who's my older brother. I'm spending more time with him. He's a black belt in jujitsu, and I said, you know what? The best way to be connected with him is go do some jujitsu. So I started doing jujitsu. So it's little things like that about deepening those relationships. Mental health is feeding your brain. Feed your brain on however it does. I do a lot of feeding my brain through the connections and the relationships I have, through reading, through all the things that keep my brain sharp and going. The last is physical health. Keep moving and stay healthy. It'll make a big difference in people's lives. Every year that SEMP is a little bit different. So my New Year's resolution is always looking at SEMP and going, what areas of my SEMP can I spend a little bit more focus or time on to make it better?
And Dave, I just have a question for you in the sense of, for me as a college kid, right? I'll be in a group with all my buddies, my frat buddies, and, they'll talk about how, oh, in the future, we'll all be working together, either running a business, whatever it is, and it's fun to talk about. But it is really hard when you work with your best friend, like you. How do you keep your personal side of the friendship and the business side of everything, I guess I'd say separate, but even in the
Yeah.
sense of making sure that nothing crumbles? Because I know it can be hard.
I'll tell you, that'll be the next book Chuck and I put out. It'll be a book on business partnership,
Yeah.
because business partnerships are hard. In fact, most businesses that fail isn't because of the business, it's because of the partnerships they have and the things they have there. Over the last 35 years with Chuck, it's really, really simple for us. We have candor, we have honesty, and we have self-awareness. Chuck is better at things than I am. I'm better at things than he is. And we check our ego at the door. And if our ego gets in the way, the other person's going to call each other out. Remember I said that tough love? I'll give him tough love. He will give me tough love. If he has an idea, I'll be the first person to say, that's a dumb idea. If I have an idea, he'll tell me it's a dumb idea. But we don't care. And this is the secret recipe to running a business. So here it is right here. I'm going to give it to you. Whosever idea it is, it really doesn't matter. One of Chuck and I's rules is that if you have an idea, guess what? And we're going to do that idea. The other person has to make sure that we execute on it. Because guess what? The idea actually is only about 10% of the value. 90% of the work is how you execute it. And if I commit to leading the execution, he's going to be an executor with me. It's his idea, right? He's probably going to have better ideas on how we're going to deliver it than I will. But I'm going to own it. And the reason I'm going to own that is Chuck and I have both had ideas that have failed and failed miserably. But I'll tell you, there's never been a day we looked at each other and said, told you so. We never do that. Look at each other and say, guess what? We didn't execute that well. And we can candidly break down where the failures were and learn from them so we don't make those same mistakes again. That's what a great partnership is really aligning on, it doesn't matter whose idea is, doesn't matter who drove the results, and doesn't matter who's better at this or better at that. Check all your egos at the door and know that you're in it together. That's what's important.
So, as we wrap up today, what parting advice do you want to give to our listeners?
If you want to change the world or whatever thing you want to execute in, the best investment you are going to make is in you. And you know what? The more you invest in you, the better you are going to do for others. So many times people can focus on others, but they're broken inside themselves. And you can only go so far when you're broken. You need to continue be repairing yourself and making yourself stronger, because the stronger you can be, the stronger you will be for others and be a better impact in the world. So take time and really figure out how you're going to invest in you and quit thinking about where the climb is, because the real part of the climb is the journey that you take within that climb, because that's the fun stuff. Enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, you guys. You guys were a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to Unstoppable. If you found this episode valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. At Vision One, we help business owners and leaders navigate critical transitions. Whether you're growing, buying, or selling, or transitioning to the next generation, if you're feeling stuck or need extra support, visit us at visiononeperformance.com to learn how we can help. And don't forget to check out our book, Unstoppable: 7 Simple Steps to Get Unstuck, Make the Big Change, and Unlock Your Potential. It's free on Audible, so you can find the link on our website. Remember, the only limits are the ones you set. Stay unstoppable, and we'll see you next time.